Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Pit Against the Live Voice of Collins Show. I'm William Table and Legs, joined by my constant co-host Kevin Smurph Murphy. Kevin, what's up?
What's up?
Did you check out that world premiere?
Yeah.
Pit Against is a live call-in show. If you'd like to be live on air talking to us about your take, join the Pit Against Discord by clicking on the link that's in the description. Then join the waiting room channel, put your hot take in the topics text channel, and if we like your take, we'll pull you on for a mic check and put you on air. Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. That one guy won. I saw Pablo. That was pretty cool.
Pablo was doing pretty darn well. He started out 16-0.
There's like an interesting
in limited.
Yeah, that's insane. I
And
saw
then
it.
he
Yeah.
0-3 to draft, and then he 3-0 to draft.
Well, life happens.
That bubbled him out.
It's interesting because there was a bit of a narrative on the heroes where it was like Fang was like really, like that was like the default hero for a lot of people, and then it like shifted as the weekend went, or at least that's how the narrative went on cast. It was like Fang was like the generally powerful hero that people were like going to first.
It was a little like you had Syndra that's like level 0, and then you had Fang that's level 1, where it's like once you figure out some pieces, you can see where he's really powerful.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. And then Arachne was just like, if you have a cracked Arachne deck, then you have a cracked Arachne deck.
I mean, that's pretty much... That seemed like how a lot of it was going, is like, if you had the cracked deck, you had the cracked deck. But it wasn't, like, wildly skewed any particular direction.
Okay.
I think it was probably a little skewed away from Arachne just because he was the hardest for people to figure out, and he had the most pieces to put in place, and he's the most, I guess, non-linear is the term I've been using a lot for him, because it's not obvious.
Out of the
whereas,
gate, these heroes seem closer together than like we've seen in a while, right? So like Florian was strong out of the gate, and
Mistveil was very good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true.
In limited, like in limited and Mistveil, it was almost always exactly 1/3.
Wow.
For each hero, even in between sealed and draft. Like I think I remember the draft at Amsterdam. The day one draft at Amsterdam was like within one person of being an even 1/3 split all the way.
That's insane. Actually.
Yes. Yeah,
that's great. I love it. Is that a hallmark for a good draft set? Does that a good draft set make, or can?
There is going to be a very strong correlation between good draft sets and that being true. It is not by itself enough to make a good draft set, because you look at Monarch. Well, Monarch was not necessarily a 4-way split evenly.
Monarch was interesting because, like, I feel like almost more than, like, you say this about every draft where it's like, I guess most of this conversation is sealed and I'm moving to draft, but like, Monarch, I feel like almost more than any other set was like, if you lean too far in one direction, like the pod does, then the people the one-ofs get rewarded more so than like anything, right? Like the cracked.
But even then, it was still probably
huge.
correct to be a 3-2-2-1.
That's
pod.
Yeah.
With Prism and Bolton as the 3-1.
Yeah.
But like, probably since WTR, like Mistveil was like the closest for like being even split. I don't know if this is going to be quite there, but it's going to be better than Uprising was, definitely, which was our last 3-hero set.
So, spoiler alert, that's what we're going to be talking about is limited. But we're also going to be talking about whatever our caller has in store. We have a caller. Do we want to go get him and talk about that?
Sure. Mistveil was our last 3-hero set, but it was different because we had Mystic.
Yeah, everyone had Mystic.
The card pool was different. This is much closer in shape to Uprising, but yeah. All right.
Goodbye, Kevin, as you go and you grab our caller. If you want to call in and tell us about your hot take, like, I think it's completely fine for 7 people to go Prism in Monarch Draft. Well, I don't want to talk about that today, but it might be something I want to talk about in the future, or it might be something else we can just talk about in general. I like to talk, and Kevin likes to correct, and our caller likes to call. Caller, what's your name and where are you going from?
What's up? It is Dylan, TCG Talk, and I'm coming from same place as before, Virginia. Have not moved
that's
yet.
cool. That's cool. That's good. Moving's a hassle. What would you like to talk about on the show?
Well, I know we talked about it in Discord. Obviously had the needle ban today. My anger has since subsided. I had some good Hispanic food and I've gone down. But no, no. Just want to talk about the needle. Kind of talk about the timing of it, the precedent of it, and then the play lines of it. Because I think people are They're overestimating some things, underestimating other things. You can tell there's a lot of people who haven't actually played IRA. They've only played against IRA in what they're saying. And just kind of how the meta is. So
or haven't yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Or haven't played enough games against IRA.
Yeah,
I played
enough games against it.
I played against one IRA and I didn't draw a clash card, and they drew the nuts and they just wiped me. And then in my second game against IRA, I drew all the clash cards, and then the game wasn't close the other direction. So I didn't feel as bad. I was nervous, and then like when I saw the ceiling, but then when I saw the more games, I was like, oh, okay, it's not insane. It's great, but it's not insane.
It's kind of insane.
Is it? Okay. Let's talk about it. All right. So I guess we'll start with your take. Elaborate. So, or I guess I'll set the groundwork. So like, Needle was banned. Zephyr Needle, which is a 1-cost ninja dagger that says if this is blocked by an attack with
greater base.
Wow.
A card.
A card
with greater base, then it's attacking, then it breaks when the combat chain is closed.
It costs 1. It has natural go again. Its base is 2. It's actually kind of really good. So it's and you can have 2. It's one-handed, so you can have 2. Which is already insane. So the drawback is it breaks. And so they banned it because it's too good. It was always too good. No, give us some context, or I guess.
No. So I put a Word document from me, otherwise I'll ramble, and it's gonna be a bad day. So I have 4 points. No, the main thing that got me, and this is the first thing I want to talk about, was timing. And everyone's always had issues with LSS's timing, for better or worse, right? The Bonds ban was a really big one, even though Bonds should have went well before that. Like, it happened right before a huge event. Belittle happened like right after a big event. Like, they've had kind of weird timings with when they ban cards. I think like the only time I've been, other than like obvious bans that were going to happen, the only time I've been super happy with when they got rid of a card was Crown of Seeds. Yes, it should have went earlier, but like they preemptively got rid of something. It actually generated more excitement for what was coming, because everybody's like, whoa, why is Crown of Seeds going away? Like, what's Earth getting? Like, or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish my initial take is I wish they would have done this either this past Monday, right after the world premiere. It should have been talked about because maybe they had information, or B, it should have been done on day 1 of spoiler season. I know they talked about, and I won't go too big of a ramble, I know they talked about how they were already well aware of this. They were planning on doing it March 4th, right? So basically like right after RTN season. And then they saw, in their words, they saw creator tier lists. Sorry, I should have made a video, I guess. No, it's not just me.
It's all your fault. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all my fault. And tier lists and like videos on IRA, and they realized that people found the deck earlier than they thought. And so that's why they decided to do it now. And for me, I know it's easier for me to say this like armchair quarterback style, but to me, if you're sitting in that room, you tell your team, like, either we do this now before people do like order their stuff or get super excited and see the cards and travel and all that stuff, or we do it after our TN season. Because yes, did thousands of people buy boxes because IRA's busted? No. However, I know several people that bought Flick Knives, bought Mask Momentum, bought all this stuff. Now, will they still probably play IRA? Sure. But like, I just wish they would have done this like the day that they showed the retrieve stuff, because we got that like early on in spoiler week. Like, they should have just bit the bullet there. That's my initial take. It hurts some people who brought product, and I don't think it would have. I think they would have gotten. They're probably not gonna get much flack for this in general, but they would have gotten less if they would have done a day 1 of spoiler season, and we still would have had the same hype, and I don't think as much would have changed.
I have a quick question. Define day 1 of spoiler season. Like, I would have drip fed spoilers for months.
Yeah, we have been drip fed, but the original, or like the set spoiler time from a creator perspective, was the 13th through the 15th. That's when every creator got told their days. Okay. That wasn't an expansion slot card.
Yeah.
So I probably would have done it either that Monday morning, like it would have been a statement from LSS, or maybe you do it like a couple days before so you don't ruin people's spoilers.
True.
Like I just would have done it like either a week before, a couple days before, and then went on spoiler season. And I think it actually would have generated some hype of like, oh my gosh, Neil's getting banned. Like, what the heck's coming in the set?
Something's crazy.
So they could have just done better in timing, but that's more armchair quarterbacky. But that was my initial point. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on it.
I'm not a quarterback either. So in their article, they brought up that their initial intention was to wait and see how the Ira deck would develop. You mentioned this, right?
Yeah.
How long it would take the community to figure it out, and which is interesting for a couple of reasons. But I think that was just like that was their whole thought process. They were like, our bans will be based on when everyone figures it out, and then we make best made a video. And so they banned it right there because we made best when they say something's broken. Everyone knows.
Always broken. 100%. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone knows Betsy's broken. So, but I think they made another point in the next sentence basically, which was they didn't like how Kraken's Aether Vein had its own like stubbies treatment, where it got like a week of play, and then everyone was like, "Well, I don't want to play this format where there's one deck in it, basically." And they wanted to ban it if they knew everyone was playing the deck, and they knew the deck was wildly good, then or however good they believed it be, then they didn't want everyone thinking Memphis was going to be just Ira.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts, Kevin? Before I ramble again,
This one's kind of messy.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that they're trying to. It's interesting because like they've. This is now, I guess, the second time that we have found a deck well before they thought we would. But I guess we don't know we don't necessarily know the times that there's a deck archetype that they think is really good and we don't find it, or we haven't found it. We don't know when that's happening.
Vincent.
We can only see the times where we find the busted deck and they're like, "Oh, they found the busted deck. We need to ban the thing." But
Berserk. I don't know. There's like
Berserk was going to be so blatantly.
No, yeah.
But then Zet, like when I heard that this happened, and before I read the article, my first reaction was, "Oh, they missed something else. They missed Rainbow Bond Zen again."
Yeah.
Was my first thought. Mm-hmm. So like I don't like them letting this stuff kind of go because. Like, it is close to an event, and just Memphis is going to be weird anyways, just because people aren't going to have good access to cards, and that's something else we can get into. But I'd prefer if they had just preemptively banned it, like Berserk. Like, Ira's been using Kodachi Needle for a while now. Like, that's not a surprise there. Flick Knives is still going to be good. Mask Momentum is still going to be good. Ira is still going to be very good. Like, knocking 2 value average off her turn is not... It's a nerf, and she's still going to be one of the top 5 decks, probably, at Memphis.
We'll talk about... I assume one of your points that you wanted to talk about was value, so we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, that was one of my things. And to lean on what Kevin said a little bit with precedence, like using the 2 things they said that was really interesting in the article was they mentioned that Zen had abused needles and that it created degenerate play patterns. And I was like, that wasn't even a top 5 thing that Zen did that was degenerate. Like, if you told me list the things that Zen does degenerately, I don't even think Neil's would have been on my list. I wouldn't even thought to say it because it literally was just a sideboard card for aggro mirrors. And most of the time, it was which Zen could break whose needle quicker and like start losing value. But even then, it didn't matter that much. I would not label that as degrading at all. So I thought that was kind of a cop-out thing, and that's the only like super negative thing I'll say on that. Is just that didn't make sense to me. And then if you're going to use creators, like Kevin said, and the public, like if you're waiting for us to find the broken thing, there's a difference between missing Bond Zen and saying, okay, we know this should be banned, but we're like, because if you think about it, LSS does not think this way, but someone could take it this way. You're basically saying we're waiting for them to have crappy couple of events and figure out the broken thing before we ban it. And if you're that confident that it's going to create a negative play experience once people find it, just ban it. Like don't even think about waiting.
They sacked a PQ plus for LL the last time they did this.
Yeah.
That's
and they were gonna sack a double calling in RTN season.
Yeah.
Or like a calling in Battle Hardened there, plus a Battle Hardened in Bangkok, and then a calling in Christchurch as well. Like that part doesn't.
That was the main part that didn't sit with me. Everything else is kind of like tomato, but the precedent and the timing were the biggest things.
I will say on that instance of needles in Zen, it's not. The needles did add value to the deck. It wasn't. It's not a good comparison. So I'm not defending the reason they brought it up.
I get it. Yeah.
In the article, but like needles was like when people were like bringing needles, everyone was like, oh. That's just free value. That's good.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, yeah. So needles in that sense, it was their specific statement was like the reason you could run Zephyr needles is because you got around the negative side effect because you're only swinging them once in a game anyways.
Yeah. So it was they said that they compared the retrieve mechanic to Zen making the game so short that it didn't matter that your needles broke. And that's not the same thing. That is, one is you are accepting the trade-off for the short-term power, but you are taking the trade-off.
True.
It was something that people played around. It was like half of the game plan of Prism versus Zen for both sides was based around how Prism blocked needles.
Yeah.
Like, it was actually a point of contention. But then you can't compare that to Retrieve, which is just fully saying, plus Ira ability, which are both like fully saying the trade-off does not exist. Not I'm taking it. It's saying it doesn't exist for me. And that's not the same thing as accepting the trade-off and taking it.
So for clarity on why it fixes the trade-off is retrieve, pay 1, pull a card, pull a dagger out of your graveyard and re-equip it. Which gets around it destroying itself. And then Ira's ability giving the second attack +1 can mean that the dagger doesn't break sometimes, especially in conjunction with some of these other cards that came out and hunted that also buff daggers. So, yeah, it's retrieve mechanics insane. The way Ira interacts with them is also actually really, really good. Yeah, it's not a perfect comparison. I see what they're saying. In hindsight, maybe just a different comparison clears that up better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, talking about the play lines thing, I think people are overestimating. Like, so on a normal turn, unless you're flicking every turn, which anyone who's played more than 10 games of actual testing with this new deck, you don't flick every turn. You flick when either you have a retrieve in your hand, or super late game when your deck is thinned, you know how many retrieve cards are left. Like, that's when you flick. Like, it's not like, I'm a flick every 2 to 3 turns. I would say on average, I'm totally guesstimating here, I flick like 3 to 4 times in a game, and I'm highballing. It might be a little bit less. It's around 3 probably. And that's if they don't break, right, already. So, like, most of the time, all needle really gets you is +1 damage a turn. Now, +1 damage a turn on a hero that also
per weapon.
Per weapon, if you run double needle. I don't think...
Yes.
But I also am in the camp, and I know I'm in the minority on this. Kevin probably has other circles that are on double needle. I think double needle is less consistent, but had a higher ceiling. So I was going to stay on Kodachi needle. But if you're on single needle, it's +1 damage per turn. Losing needle... The funny part is, doesn't really hurt a lot of the play lines. You still can go Kodachi, up sticks and run, Kodachi for 6, or Kodachi flick, up sticks and run, Kodachi for 6, and do your thing. Like, all you really lose is that +1. Where it really hurt, the biggest play line it hurts is people would lead with needle, and you're basically telling your opponent either break my dagger now and I force a card, or you're going to give me 2 free damage. And if you don't block it, then I'm going to flick the next link anyway and then play up sticks and run. So, like, that's the line you lose.
Yeah.
So all that to say, like you do lose the +1 value. That sucks, but losing Needle doesn't really hurt the power of the deck a ton. It just makes it from like clear cut BDIF to like contending for best deck, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people are overhyping the power of Needle. I think Needle raised her ceiling, but it doesn't take away what makes Ira really, really good. So it's just a really interesting band from a play line perspective. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on that, but
The nail on the head there, because I've been thinking about it as well. It's like, what do games against Double Needle look like? What do games against Kadachi Needle look like? And they look very different. Whereas just like you're much more incentivized, even in aggro matchups, to block that first needle for 2. Even if they're going to flick it and retrieve it, you probably can run them out of retrieve effects fairly reliably at some point. I don't know if you can do that before they kill you, but that is something you can play to if they're not careful with Double Needle. But like Kadachi Needle, like you would almost never get to run them out of retrieve effects or break that needle unless they let you or something like it. So it would have been Kadachi Needle was like the main, and you would Double Needle like aggro mirrors or something like that. But it's a nerf, but it is definitely not going to move the deck out of the. It's not moving it off the list of decks you should be testing against by any means.
Yeah, and the deck had counters, not like hard counters, but like Dynamo Warrior still sucks if the pilot is good and the deck is like I think a tuned Fangless would still give her a little bit of issues. Viscerai still, in my opinion, is slightly unfavored. That Aztecs that's in my opinion. I don't know. That's how I've played, but I know there's better pilots than me. And then fast decks are still kind of a toss up. I think Ira got a lot better into them with some of the crazy stuff that she has, but like it still can be a toss-up. Zen going away might change that. Then you have stuff like Frailty Trap for Assassins and Warrior.
Yep.
Like you have Gravekeeping even. Like if you flick
if
it the
you
wrong...
want to get really nitpicky,
yeah, if you really want to get
tech
really
cards.
nitpicky, there's tech cards. So like again, it doesn't like hard counter, but it does make it to where the Ira really has to, because if anyone's played the deck more than like 10 times, if you flick it the wrong time and you don't get a retrieve for like 2, playing with one arm, no pun intended.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's terrible.
The deck is built around that cost. Very
especially
sad.
Double Needle, because then you really can't swing your first until you find a retrieve. So, I think, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm glad that they're learning from their mistakes. I'm putting that in air quotes with like little and stuff. But at the same time, I wish the timing was just better. And I'm biased. I love Ira. I was happy to see like a very simplistic and normally had very, let's just be real, boring deck. Normally had very, let's just be real, boring deck building. All of a sudden have this really cool, like completely unique form of deck building now. And you could do Kadachi Needle, you could do Double Needle, you could do like straight 1 for 5. Now it kind of simplifies the deck a little bit more.
Touch, but not
a ton. Well,
not a huge amount.
Yeah, my deck list doesn't change. I just swap Kadachi back in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I had something and I lost it.
Ooh, that's perfect because the stream is paused for some reason. So we're gonna chill for a second while we let it come back to us. It looks like it's coming back. All right, so I'm going to read this while we're doing it. Novocaine in chat says, is it too late to cancel orders? The product isn't released yet. I hope they don't mean... I hope they don't mean... Dang, from down again.
Well, that's the funny thing is I put my video out today about the needle bane, and the first comment was, I just bought 2 cold full needles. I'm really sad. I was like, that's one person.
What was their username?
Hold on, I can tell you.
Because I have 2 people in my testing Discord that are like, I just got cold foil needles at Chicago.
I'll tell you who it was, but yeah, someone said it. I was like, dang, that sucks. Back to Runaways crying about bonds. I was like, okay, I get it. You don't like the fact that I'm not liking this. I have to find it, but yes, that was.
Runaways were pretty whiny on that episode.
Yeah, that one was. I love their stuff, but that was. Yeah.
I think they definitely could have done that ban better, where they announce it 2 weeks earlier and say it'll go into effect after whatever season before Amsterdam, but here's your 2-week notice. But I think anyone who wasn't anticipating something like that was
Shadow Kaiser was the name of the person.
Shadow Kaiser. Okay.
Yeah,
So now there's 3 people that.
Yeah, they said I bought
cold
full of needles when Hunted was spoiled and was excited for Dagger Synergy. At least there's LL format. That's what they
Yup.
said.
Novocaine also said, I guess if you're buying product outside of HNT set, then you're impacted.
Yeah, your biggest impact is if you bought Flick Knives and Mask Momentum.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the
Which
hero's still
those are
good.
still
You can
very
play
good.
it. Yeah, that's still good. It's not like you just like lost value, but emotionally, if you were excited, I get it.
Yes. It doesn't. But I think you'll be fine after you play a week of RTNs with it and probably top 8, both of them. Like,
yeah. Yeah, my final take is I think she's still a top 3 deck. We'll see how it shakes out.
Oh
I still think she's up there. I think her new and potentially a third one are kind of a cut above the rest right now. Probably Viscerize third once Zen goes. But there's like 5 or 6 decks that all can beat each other now, so it is what it is.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think she's still right up there.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I was angry earlier, and then I ate a giant burrito, so now I'm not as bad. Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. We are still having problems, and I can't figure out why.
Viscerize a 61% win rate on Talishar.
That's gross.
Oh, Viscerize is disgusting.
Viscerize is gross.
I know. He's been my armory deck for like 3 weeks.
Keep
and I've dropped 3 games total in 12 armories or something.
My last armory, I was playing on Ira. I played Prism, Verdance. I was like, what is my life right now?
Bro, that sounds free.
I won all 3. But I was like, why am I playing Prism, Verdance right now?
Where were you going to an armory with 2 prisms?
It was up in Charlottesville. Like normally the people who like to play Prism weren't playing Prism. Like, so.
End games?
Yeah, in games. People were trying random stuff right now. We have a ton of new players, and so like our armory's like 15 deep right now. So it was just really nice.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was Sam on Prism?
No, that's what I'm saying. Sam normally is on Prism. Sam's on Ira right now. Now Sam's crying in his Kadachis because they took his needle away. So he's upset. He literally put in the chat this morning, does anyone have conceal? He asked like 5 cards, conceal play, whatever, and then he put wait, never mind. Today at like 6. So yeah. Yep.
Unlucky, bro.
That's all I had. We'll see how it shakes up. I'll be fine in a couple days. It just stings right now. Well, I appreciate y'all.
No trouble.
Is it still down for you?
Dude, it is. So it's like moving at like a frame per second. I don't know why.
That's not good.
Nah. Yeah, and there's not like a way to like refresh the stream without just shutting it off in OBS.
Yeah. Aurora 55%. Ira's at 55% for all of January.
Someone just told me the fact that you said that retrieve is hard to play around at times is ridiculous. You can put 18 retrieve cards in your deck. I was like, okay, you put in yellow pick up the point and blue up sticks and run, and you tell me how good your deck is.
I can see blue pickup sticks, but I don't know about yellow and blue point.
Pick up the point, yeah.
Like sticks still just being a 0 for 2 is fine, or a 1 for whatever retrieve. 2
block blues and Ira make me cry. But yeah,
that's understandable. But
I took Look Black out of my list though, so
yeah,
I ain't having the list anymore.
What the frick? Prism has a 54% win rate on Talishar.
Prism's like not the new Dory, but Prism's like Dory to me. If you don't know how to play in her, she runs you over.
Yeah, no.
Unless your deck just naturally counters her.
And then there's the one matchup that is just absolutely unwinnable. Like Dory had Guardian and Prism has Brute, and you just randomly hit the 2 Brutes at the event and you die.
One of the prisons I played was like, how many poppers do you have? Like 6? I was like, 12. He's like, why? I was like, it's Ira. All
That's
of her
the
sideboard
deck.
is 2 for 6s. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Oh, that's funny. I got really upset.
There's 178 games of Prism versus Verdance played so far this month.
I'm excited about Fang.
Some weird
I think
team
Fang,
is testing
Fang's a little
something.
fatigable, but I'm excited about Fang the most out of the 3.
Interesting. I wouldn't pick him as being that fatigable necessarily.
I don't know. Our group that's been our biggest issue because Sam just keeps playing CYB new into Conrad, and Conrad's like,
Oh,
I hate my
crying.
life. Yeah. So so he's trying to figure it out. But Fang is really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Fang is sick. We have like a pure red line Fang list that we're kind of looking at,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like if your first turn, as soon as you get online with red line Fang, oh boy,
Oh yeah.
We
It's
might
ridiculous.
be back.
they're like
might
4
be-
card like 18s,
might
4
be
card 20s.
Yeah, when you
like,
play 2 pledge fealties turn 0, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna win now. So you have a good day.
All right. I think we're mostly back, so I'm gonna try this. The next point I was gonna bring up is we talked about how the timing of this was really awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a new I'm gonna use the magic word. Is there a new heuristic for like when they should be doing ban and restricted announcements relative to events? Right? It's like, okay, we do them 1 month before or X weeks before a calling.
there's always you can't do that. There's 22 callings.
Yeah, it's too many events at this point.
So many.
Their OP system's too big to like have
Like
a perfect system.
you
for
can't,
that.
there's always going to be something that you just shaft with
That's
a
true.
BNR.
Yeah.
Like the only thing they can reasonably like move it around is like maybe PTs and or worlds, and then like the beginning and end of any season. So like minimum 2 weeks before an RTN or PQ season. Like honestly, set release of Hunted being a week before RTN season, I'm not a huge fan of. I'd like one more week in there. But like at least 1 week before a qualifier season, and then at the end of a season. It's also why I don't like LL point checks in the middle of a season, because your whole meta can change and you don't know week to week necessarily if it's gonna.
Yeah.
But like so I don't like that stuff in, because like you can't put it in the middle of a season. You can't put a BNR in the middle of a season unless you're it's 100% necessary.
Yeah.
But like this is something they knew about. They could have done it at any point in the week
this was a
before this.
softball. Yeah.
Like this is an easy one for them to get. They could have done the bonds color restriction better, but meh. The book ban was well done, in my opinion. It was timed very well, but they had like a nice month. They had like a full month window where nothing was happening. So they couldn't. It was difficult for them to like put it up against anything. And then they have like a month window after stuff ends in December before stuff restarted in January, like really restarted in January. But there's no good place to put it if you're trying to plan around every calling. You can't do it. There's one almost every other week at this point. Now, some of those are slotted against PTs and Worlds and US Nats. So there's at least 5 of them probably that are just like, you're already planning around those events anyways. But like, I don't know, try and not do them within a week of a PT or Worlds. Try and do them not within a week of a qualifier season.
Yeah, I remember you had a point, Kevin. I don't know if you care about it anymore or not, but you said something, then we kept moving on about access to cards for Memphis.
So, I was going to bring this up, right? So, Frick. Novocaine brought up in chat, and I talked about it during our little intermission.
Hiatus.
Intermission. They said, is it too late to cancel orders? The product isn't even released yet. But they were talking about that. But then they were like, you're only really impacted if you're buying cards outside of the set because the set hasn't dropped yet. But that said, people are kind of there's a different problem on a different front where people are impacted by the set because it's We got a calling coming up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a CC calling on Friday, and I'm pretty sure I know the reason they did this, and I disagree with it vehemently. They put the CC calling on Friday, Saturday, so they can have a CC Battle Hardened on Sunday. So they can have CC coverage all weekend.
Yeah.
And not limited on Friday, Saturday, where people are going to open a couple thousand boxes in the room for the event where they need cards the next day. So we only have available to us for this classic constructed calling the cards that we can pre-order. The first set of pre-orders that I know of that would be available in the US by the time of this calling went up today. And it's not SCG. And some of the prices are exorbitant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shelter from the Storm is $80.
The new Majestic Defense Reaction.
That people roast me on X for saying how much that card should be. They're like, try again, it's going to be 70, 80. I was like, well, I'm going to stick to Fate.
It shouldn't be.
Shouldn't.
Yeah, it should be like $30.
I would like it to be 30. I wouldn't be surprised if it is 50 for a bit during this RTN season.
Yeah.
I will not pay 80. I literally just won't put it in my deck list then.
Yeah,
at that
I'm not going to pay 80 for a 0-4 with good upside like this.
I'll put a different D-React in.
Not my thing.
Like
Sink Below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the first set of pre-orders that has gone up. And if this is what we have to pay for this CC calling, drop your day of coverage. I don't care. You're not going to get a good day of coverage. You're not going to get a good 2 days of coverage.
Okay.
If people are not playing your new cards, this is what you're doing this for, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the argument I was going to say is the reason they would do it is for the hype and excitement of the brand new set. You know, this is the first big event. It's coming out right now. Viewers get to watch it. And CC is the most popular format. Now you get to watch CC all weekend. And that's the whole concept.
That logically makes sense if it is literally any other weekend besides this one and maybe this coming weekend when it's pre-release weekend and we don't have the new cards yet. Don't run a double calling or stagger it like this on that weekend. But no, you're something is wrong because SCG doesn't have pre-orders up for singles, and I don't think they're gonna.
We've also heard rumors that
this is going to be an issue
in the short term is a little underprinted. Like they had printing issues or distributor issues. Yeah, and so the cards are even more tight.
Only have space for 12 people at their pre-release.
Yep, both of our stores up here, we're expecting 2 kits and got a small 1 kit thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what all of the stores here have gotten as well.
Yep.
So I've got 4. I was going to have 4 pre-releases. One of my stores didn't even get theirs.
Wow.
But,
that's wild.
Yeah. So something has gone wrong. And if their plan was to take care of World Premiere in Memphis, they have not done that. Because they haven't taken care of Memphis. They've taken care of the World Premiere. I didn't hear any issues out of the World Premiere.
World Premiere went great.
Yeah.
They also said they opened every box that was in the building. Which I'm not surprised about.
I'm not surprised at because that's what happened at Rosetta too. The prize wall ran out of Rosetta in Tampa.
Yeah.
But there was never an issue with an event being capped. We played every event. I played 7 sets of Sealed that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There wasn't an issue. So if that's what they put their priority on, sure, but you're gonna mess up Memphis now, I think. Or you have messed up Memphis.
It'll be at the least. I do really like that argument of you want to show off the new set, and then the new set has kind of strangled Memphis a little bit. There's a chance that there was a bunch of people who were going to bring Ira or they were going to bring whatever, and now they can't or don't feel comfortable doing it.
It's $125 for that ninja chess piece. That
I wonder This is completely off left field and just popped in my head. And if y'all say no to this, that's fine. I was just curious y'all's take. What would your thoughts be on if there is a calling on release weekend that is CC? You allow players to have legalized proxies.
Nope, I hate it.
If they want to play a new hero,
I
competitive tier event, professional day 2.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I agree, but I also don't, because competitive players have testing teams and access to people like MinMax and Hamal and all that also have way more access than your typical player. So competitive advantage is way better for them if the heroes are good.
Generally, yes. So while I agree with that, I don't want to set that precedent at a call-in level event.
Yeah.
If you were having the release weekend play day events and they wanted to be lenient on armories, sure.
Yeah, that would make more sense. Yeah, I agree.
But you're putting up a $20,000 calling and a $2,000 battle hardened. I
think there would be a lot of there could be deck check problems. There could be there's a lot of logistics involved with it. Sure. And I think every single deck would have to literally be any deck running a proxy would have to be checked by a judge at some point, probably before the event. And that could work if you had a 16-person armory with a single judge maybe, and
there's literally you present a list of your proxies at the beginning of the event and give it to the store owner just so that if there are any questions.
Yeah. But that sounds like something LSS wouldn't even want to endorse in the first place. No. They make money selling cards. From outside of a logistics reason, I think the same kind of brain mindset that is risk management HR bull crap would say the sales brains would say absolutely not. No, and sure. I think the idea and concept is noble and interesting, but I think there's a lot of reasons against it, and I think being a calling specifically would be probably the biggest one.
No, for sure.
Yeah. I think if a store did it, everyone just kind of agreed on it and just kept their mouth shut and just played like that, that would be fine. I mean, it's just at a store level, an armory, just a bunch of friends. I think that's fine. Yeah. If everyone's cool with it.
Yeah.
Mark's been trying to get us to play against Cole all week. Or past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Anyways.
I understand the card access issue. I really do think it is an issue. I'm not going to be able to get any of the cards I would have wanted because I'm just not willing to pay the prices at the moment for what 100%. They are. Even when I could get them, the prices are ridiculous. I could order from MinMax right now, but I'm not gonna because I'm not paying that. No. Which, if it's true and there are short prints, and it is short printed, which it does seem like with the issues with pre-release as well, they're going to need to fix that pretty soon if this is, actually a really powerful set, which it seems like it's a pretty powerful set. There's a lot of 0-for-4s in this set.
Yeah. 0-for-4 pretty good.
I think it's a pretty good set, and along with this D-React being majestic, which, good luck. There's also a full extended art version of it.
That D-React should be a common.
With the micro text box. It should not be a common for the purposes of draft. But
it should not be a common for the purposes of... I
understand your point.
It should be put in the expansion slot at common. Anyways, on to a different subject. I think that's it. Oh, the only other question I had is, it's a double calling, right?
Yes.
How does coverage work?
They're going to run coverage of the CC calling on Friday and Saturday, and then they're going to cover the CC battle hardened on Sunday.
Wait, so it's a double calling, but you're only going to watch one calling? Wait, the other callings...
Saturday, Sunday, and it's limited.
Limited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It sucks to say, but from a viewership perspective, it makes sense. Limited is severely less watched.
Yeah.
No, I fully understand why their reasoning for doing this. I think it is worse for the players in the room.
No, I agree with you on that one.
That is when I have my issue, and I would say that even if I wasn't going,
Mm-hmm.
because I also like I'm not changing any cards out of my deck. I'm especially not changing them now. I thought about changing a couple cards out for like 2 cards out for shelters. Is like what I thought about doing, but I'm not doing that. But so I don't need any new cards, and I still think this is like you are getting a better viewer experience at the expense of every player in that room, basically. And if you care about people playing in the flesh and blood,
I get it.
I'm going to draw issue with it.
I think I always want to like at least stick up for the idea of the viewer because that is important, and the events are to get people engaged in the game physically, but also to get people engaged online, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
You
an
can
advertisement.
have coverage of a full CC calling still.
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually trade a CC calling for this. You trade a CC battle hardened for this.
Yeah.
In this coverage. And you can show if you want. They could run a PQ plus on Friday alongside the start of the sealed calling. And they don't even need to stream the PQ plus. But it's fine. You don't have to play the PQ plus. It's a PQ plus.
Yeah.
There's one PTI on the line. They don't even give money at PQ plus events. They're prize wall tickets. Run that Friday.
I've definitely made money.
Start the limited calling.
Tickets.
You can stream the PQ plus still.
Yeah.
Run the limited calling starting Friday. Run the CC calling starting Sunday, and you can stream all of it. And
Scouting
a CC battle harden.
Is not scouting. Is
Done.
Savage Feats doing this? I assume.
I believe so.
That makes sense.
I'd be surprised if they weren't.
Yeah. I don't know. From a viewer perspective, I'm excited, but now that I'm seeing it from a player's perspective, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I am even as a viewer, I am slightly less excited because the calling coverage is. I'm going to look at deck lists from the calling, and I'm not going to know if it's I couldn't get the card, or I didn't want to put the card in my 80.
Especially if they are playing a new hero.
Yes, but this has happened. Like, we've actually had this happen before, which was calling Birmingham last year. That was won by Icelander.
Yeah, go ahead.
The guy literally couldn't get Warmongers, so it wasn't in his Icelander list.
Diplomacy.
Yes. That is why it was not in his 80.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh my god, this guy's like crazy. He's not running it. Does he think the card isn't good enough? Like, are we wrong about this? Or like, in the interview, he's like, no, I literally just couldn't get them. Like, they were just too expensive. They've only gone up since then, by the way.
Yeah.
But like,
I think that's it. Is there anything else you want to talk about, except for needles, or
no? That was it.
Whatever we've been talking about, card prices, player health, or some bull crap that no one cares about.
No. Overall, it'll be fine. It'll all be okay eventually.
It will.
People just have their reactions in the moment.
This is definitely a problem right now that gets settled in a month. It just, as time moves on, this problem disappears. This isn't like a meta problem where it's like, okay, we live with this now.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Oh, another question I was going to ask is there a replacement for Needles you would have rather shipped? Or is Needles the correct ban?
I don't think she needed any ban. I think she's good. I just think she's a good, solid, like, top deck. I don't think she was like a meta warping. There's zero reason. Like, she wasn't Zen. We didn't
talk about this. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying that. I think she's good, but I don't think she was Zen. Like, I think she
was just tier 1.
She was not Bon Zen. Like, she was not Rainbow Bon Zen.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was at least tier 0.5. Just because if you can run Needles with no downside, you are going to put out better rate than basically any other hero.
Mm-hmm.
Needle into CNC.
Needle into CNC is pretty heckin' good, especially if you put that 0 for 4 in front of the needle to make sure it can't blow up.
Yeah.
Even if you're not going to retrieve. Like, that's a 3-card 13 with CNC.
Yeah, like you put a 0. You
Yeah, look,
block
just
the
let me have
needle.
my 4-card 19. Okay, let me have
That's
my
really
4-card 19.
freaking good,
It's
man.
so good, dude.
And let me have a nice. Let me have my 5-card 24. Like that's all I'm asking for. Like all it was
You said
Kadachi
4-card 19.
cut. Yeah, so it's
Holy
Kadachi
frick.
cut through. If Kadachi hits, this is Kadachi hits. Cut through for 5, dual threat, break the chain, needle for 5, 1 for 5 that comes in for 8. So you get a 4-card 19 off of a blue.
Like I think Victor's best
Dual
4-card.
Yeah, dual threat is correct.
Victor's best 4-card is like you already have Tunic up, and you have an excess gold, and you go rouse into specialization. Yeah, Golden Sun, and that's 17. And you ate a gold, and you used Tunic. Yeah, had Tunic.
Yeah.
That's a 4-card 17, and you're like, yeah.
4-card 19.
Oh.
It's technically a 4-card
Yeah.
20 if I flick at the end, but I didn't put that in there.
True.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just
Yeah,
let me have
I
it. Just-
think
Now you're
the
good.
deck was
Now you're
very good. There was a lot of screenshots I saw of 16 plus average value per turn,
Oh yeah.
which is
I don't think I ever went below 14 in
is an
testing.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't
I
know
would
if
be
this
surprised if you
adds to the grossness. This is maybe just William complaining to complain. But when I see people attack with the same weapon for the second time because they bend it and then they get to attack with it again the same turn, that makes me mad. It makes me angry.
Yeah, but you got boots that you can defend with
Sure.
3 times.
Sure.
so-
No,
Hey,
I don't.
you were-
No, I don't. I don't have
But
the
my deck also
$150
runs
boots
those
yet.
boots, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only if I get to re-equip the boots. All right. I think that's it. But thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else? Is there anything you wanted to shout out?
No, y'all are doing awesome. Keep it up. It was
You're
fun.
so bad at this. Please just say the name of your YouTube channel. Holy
I don't
frick.
do that, man. I never do that with anybody.
You have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'll say
now
what
that
I
you-
said last
now
time.
that
Go
you
to
mentioned
TC
it.
Talk. Go to my most recent video. Don't even watch the video. Go down straight to the comments. Go to the Google sheet, and you'll see a bunch of other creators that you can go follow. There's like 100 of them.
Yeah, like TCG Talk.
Yeah. That's it. Thank
Kevin
you so
Smurph
much.
Murphy. Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
again. We appreciate
You
you.
have a good one.
Bye. Love that man.
Good people.
He will not advertise himself for the life of it, and it kills me. He's just on here for the fun of it. What is wrong with him?
Yeah. I mean, is that
everyone
not
else
what
should
you
be.
do?
Yeah, I only show up on things so I can brag about myself. That's not true. What was it? Okay, so we covered a lot. The only other things I wanted to talk about, and if you don't mind, I want to go over just a little longer just to talk about this because we had that intermission.
Sure.
Limited. We got a new limited set. What hero do I play
Yeah.
tomorrow?
I don't know.
So pre-release is this weekend. For me, it's tomorrow, and all the heroes look kind of good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They all seem very reasonable.
we don't have a Florian. We don't have a Phi or a what was the name? Teklavosum.
Azuri.
We don't have a Teklavosum. We don't have an Azuri. They all just look
Prism.
pretty good. Prism. True.
This it seems pretty balanced. You have to, but at the same time, in a way, you kind of have to know what to do with your pool. It's not entirely face up. I
dare he not game.
I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah,
So.
This is the kind of set that if I wasn't just so excited to play it, because I am, I would complain about, because like I don't like decks where I have to like really sequence things super hard. Like there's a lot of moving pieces. I want
of them.
Yeah. All of them do that. There's a lot of moving pieces with all of these decks. There's no this weapon is strong, and so you play around that weapon. And though there
There's
are
no
strong
Titan's
weapons,
Fist.
but yeah, there's no Titan's Fist. There's no Rot Sword, whatever Florian's weapon
Rotwood
was.
Reaper,
Rotwood
where
Reaper.
you just You play one of your sigils, you swing the sword, you let the sigil break next turn,
Feels
you
good.
swing the sword for 4 off of it.
Except I played Acilio because that deck was stupid.
That deck was fun as hell.
Deck was fun.
You don't get to talk about sequencing and then say, I played Acilio at my pre-release.
All I did was pump. I played Big Arcane is what I played at my pre-release,
Yeah,
I think.
that was really good.
That was fun.
That's what Bro, I had the most busted Acilio pool in Tampa.
Yeah.
And I was opening it, and the guy next to me is like, you know what this is telling you to do, right? I'm like, yeah, I have a Sigil of Brilliance and 2 Comet Storms.
Whoa! Oh my god!
And like 8 red lightning go-agains.
Oh
like,
my
I'm playing Acilio, and I played 2 Verdances, and I just crushed them. I was at like 12 when I killed them, because I would just send Arcane for like 7, Arcane for 8, Arcane for 10. They're dead.
So what do I do broken tomorrow?
What's
the broken thing?
So if you find one of the legendary keyworded pieces,
okay, the rares
for Fang or Syndra,
yeah,
those are probably good. They are build arounds. The Fang one is more of a build around than the Syndra one is. The Syndra one is just a good like glue piece. It's just like a solid card.
Yeah.
The Fang one is actually like a combo build around, which is really cool.
There is a couple of Majestics that do look like they just kind of like win that turn cycle when you play it, and then
they win the turn cycle and not the game.
Yeah, and that's great. There are some that are just like good, and you're like, okay, I played it and it's good. Like literally,
solid.
We were talking
it feels
about this.
Powerful.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm glad that I took this card.
Our $80 sink below.
Which is probably not one of the best
great.
Majestics in Limited.
It's not great in Limited.
But it's like you open a Kiss of Death, and you can get some pieces to line up around it. You open a Tarantula Toxin, and you can get some pieces to line up around it.
Can I use the Majestic Weapon if I pull it? Is that an expansion slot card?
So, it is supposed to be expansion slot. Okay. I heard something out of Prague that it was accidentally not.
Oh.
Which is bad.
That
weapon...
Okay,
that weapon is not supposed to be legal for limited play because it is too good. It's insane. Like, it's just so much better, like, for limited than your weapons. But your weapons are supposed to, like... Yeah, it's not supposed to be legal. It is a rumor. LSS hasn't said anything that I've seen. But if you open it, you cannot play it.
I guess I have 2 more questions, and you can answer. No, I'll ask this one because we're talking about it. Does LSS have print problems? Consistent print problems?
What do you?
So this one we have a card that's out of place, and we have it seems like we have a short printing in the short term. And then we've had other sets where cards have been short printed, like, and I might be nitpicking at this point, but like Surgical Extraction got short printed, I think, when it came out.
It did.
There's other problems where, like, that's not the only card that's been short printed, where it's like Majestic and then they forgot to put it in a roll or something like that.
Or like it was Outsiders where somebody, instead of Rainbow Foil Commons, replaced them with Rainbow Foil Legendaries and Fabled sheets.
Yeah.
So there were God cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason I thought it was MST or Rose had a print problem as well, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think people said there was a print problem because Mirror Guy wasn't expansion slotted or whatever, but like,
well, that's different.
That's,
like
that's not the same thing.
Accidental print problem.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head for those 2. I will say that. Not giving themselves any margin for error.
Is that Bird? That's Wobbuffet.
Yes.
Bird says, I think the short printing issue that occurred this time is a result of them not giving themselves any margin for error, doing a world premiere immediately into pre-release into a sealed calling.
They have done that. They did that for Rosetta. They did world premiere in Tampa into pre-releases into calling
Well,
calling in APAC.
I think that's what he's saying is like he's like, okay, we can't slip up, and then there was a slip up, and so now you have a big problem.
Oh, okay, sure. I mean, yeah, like the schedule they're giving themselves is difficult, but like that's not the cause of the error. That's like it feels like there's better ways to prepare for that when they've had sets where they've printed like way more than they needed for whatever reason. And there were no printing. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Bird, can you think of any other like printing issues? Because the question that I'm having right now, I don't know when you queued in, was does LSS have a semi-consistent print issue? Because for some reason,
sure.
Maybe they're just sticking out in my head pretty hard, but for some reason I feel like LSS have been having semi-consistent print issues. Like the other example I gave
and
was
also like
Surgical
Heavy Hitters,
Extraction,
they had the same
short printing
schedule. I know they had the same schedule for Heavy Hitters, which was there was no world premiere for Heavy Hitters. It was just pre-release into
We didn't have world
Hartford.
premiere for Heavy Hitters?
No.
Regicide.
Yeah. Regicide Surgical Extraction swap. Yeah.
That's right. That happened.
And then the Outsiders God Case one.
The Outsiders God Case. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one where they
happened.
swapped the Rainbow Flow Common sheet.
Yeah, I forgot that's what they called it. That was crazy. That was a crazy time.
I don't think they've had anything. This is at least since Outsiders that we're listing. Now, Dynasty and Outsiders were back to back.
Yeah.
But if they haven't had any issues since then,
that's not that bad, I guess.
That's not bad.
Maybe I'm just like,
that's 2 years.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's not bad.
That's pretty good. Is this a screw up and it's the immediate one?
Yes.
Having more issues than any other games? Sure.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. I'm not as into other games as much as I am Flesh and Blood, so
same.
I wouldn't have any comparison to work off of.
Yeah. I think it is fine, and I haven't had a ton of issues like pre-ordering sealed product, which is okay. That's like if there was no sealed product even available to any of us, like if we couldn't hold pre-releases, like then like we really have an issue. But like, it should be fine.
You know what I haven't heard in forever is Belgian versus Japanese packs, where there was like a difference between them.
There is not a different collation because they haven't done that since Outsiders.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. They tried that in Outsiders. And it was cool. And then they're like, oh, one of these printers can't do this. We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to make it so you just both have the same collation.
Makes sense.
That was
makes sense.
Pre-release stock over shelf stock. They did. They 100% did. Because like one of my stores, I went to pre-order a case and I'm basically waitlisted.
That's fine.
They said they're probably getting 4 cases, and I would be the 3rd.
Wow.
But they're not certain.
Wowzers.
So
this man got bucks. Anyways, the only other thing I was wanting to talk about is there any other cards you mentioned the legendary rares, legendary keyword cards. Is there any other cards you're just like, this is not a Majestic, it's a bomb? This is a card you need to look out for. Your opponent plays this, watch out, something.
Any of the Art of the Dragons.
Ooh, yeah.
Those are approaching 1 for 7 value. They're almost Chase the Tail value. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Which one for Fang? That's just a Majestic. That's fine.
What about for
Fire and Brimstone is the...
Because we've been talking about Draconic cards. I don't know. Is there any Assassin cards that you're just like, this thing's a bomb?
Stains of the Redback is going to be a very underappreciated card. It is.
Which one's
it's
that?
a 1 for 3 attack react. If the defending hero is marked, this costs 1 less to play. Or not 1 for 3. 1 for 3 and go again.
And go again. It gives the attack go again.
Guaranteed go again. But if they're marked, it costs 1 less.
It's Razor Reflex Wait, no, it doesn't have to hit, does it? It just
No.
gets go again?
It just gets go again.
Oh, that's even better. So it's Razor
it's a
Reflex,
3-block.
not an on-hit, 3-block, and you can reduce its cost.
Yes.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Does it come in rainbow or one color?
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
It seems pretty good to me.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, that card is very good. I don't think Bite is as good as they're like making it out to be. Bite is fine, but I think Stains of the Redback is a very, very good card.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people were freaking out about Black Widow, which I think a lot of people have backed off for freaking out about Black Widow.
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's good.
It
is
0
good.
For 3,
It's
so they
supposed
can
to be
block
good.
it, but the fact that there's reactions in the set is what makes it good. So you have to like add pieces together to make it feel good, and they have to be marked.
Yes, they have to. You have to. Like all of the agents are like how Arachne kind of goes above rate until,
Or I'm sorry, when I say Black Widow, I mean the card, the 0 for 3.
Oh, Mark of the Black Widow.
Mark of the Black Widow, yes.
Oh yeah, the card's fine.
Card's fine.
Card's fine.
It's not insane.
No, it's going to be good. It's going to be a card you're happy to have in your sealed pool. It is a card that if you get past it, pick 3 onwards is probably a good signal that Arachne's open. Let's say pick 4.
Okay.
There might be something in the first 2 or 3 picks that's you might take over it in the rare slot, but that is a great, what was it? Signpost card is what they call them.
Yeah.
That's a very good signpost.
A red one. Yeah, that's kind of really
red
good.
ones. Especially because it's when this is marked, they banish a card from their hand. If they're marked and you're in Marionette or you're in Web of Deceit, it's also +1, so it's a 4 coming in. The
Web
red
of
one is
Deceit
just going to be like a full letter grade better than.
Is the name of the young hero.
Web of Deceit is the young hero.
Okay. All right. I've just been calling both of them Marionette.
I have 2 mostly. But no, I think Stains of the Redback is a card that's going to surprise people.
Okay.
But it's all interesting, but everything is so synergy based. It's crazy. I like it. Dragon Power is going to be another one that is good for Ninja.
Dragon Power.
That's just the 1 cost, gets +3 if it's Draconic.
Oh. Yeah.
It's
pretty good.
Yeah. Comes in blue, great in blue.
Yeah.
1 for 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to.
It's like the high notes kind of card, right? Where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Those cards are great.
I think this is really going to test sealed deck builders in a way that Rosetta didn't. And this is going to feel more like Mistveil than Rosetta in terms of sealed. And I think we've already seen that. That's already been shown. But Redback is Assassin Razor Reflex. It's just better than Razor Reflex.
It's so good, dude.
It's so...
that
card
good.
is...
We're preaching to the choir on this, but it's so good.
It's Hiss.
Oh, it's Hiss.
It's just Hiss for all of your stealth stuff that can be free.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Mark of the Black Widow is a 0 for 4 that when they're marked and it's online, and then you just 0 cost 3 this because they're marked, so it's a 0 cost react.
And it has go again.
And then it gets go again guaranteed, even if they then have a
throw
D-react to cover it, and you get to send another one for 0 for 4 on hit go again.
Yeah.
That card is just.
I want to play Arachne. Fang seems kind of cool, where he plays around with fealty tokens. But
Arachne is going to require people to be so good at the game, dude. A good Arachne is going to look nuts.
Yeah. They did.
The
floor,
floor
over the weekend.
Yeah. And the floor isn't crazy for getting into Arachne, which I like, but the ceiling seems like it's
high.
just nuts.
There's a lot of the cards are kind of even more modal than normal. I'm thinking of the discard to mark, and it's you can discard, You can attack, you can block, you can pitch.
I don't even know if that card's good, but I can't say for sure. Like, I look at that card and I'm like, I don't like the wind-up effects a ton. Do I really want to do this just for mark? And then I look at the mark effects and I'm like, that seems all right.
Yeah, it seems
pretty good.
Block 3, and then if you get this in your starting hand, that's really good.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's
I'm
great.
cool with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a blue set of guarantee mark when they're at
great.
1, and I get all my daggers get go again and +1 and stuff. And
yeah, really good.
Seems pretty good.
Oh, I was also surprised in spoiler season when we were learning about graphing calculator how much there is in this set. Like, I thought there'd be like 1 or 2 ways to get it. Like, I thought we would get a majestic and the hero, and that was it. But then we got a couple of commons or rares that do it too.
We got a set of commons and a set of rares.
Okay.
And the set of rares, I believe it's the set of rares. It actually might be the commons.
There's one that's like good.
They're both rares.
Oh, okay.
And the non-attack version is significantly better.
Yeah. That's like the 0 for 4 create one or something.
It's 0 for 3. So your next attack gets with stealth this turn gets +3, go again, or equip a Graphene Chelicera token, go again. And it's 0 cost.
Mm-hmm.
So you just equip the token, which is stealth. So it's just a 1 for 4, go again. This is a leg tap that makes you the weapon.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a 3 block.
It's huge. This draft set is turning out to be awesome, in my opinion. We'll see how it feels after we've done some drafting of it, but I kind of love it.
It's definitely powered up from
Rosetta
draft. Because Rosetta draft could be a little slow and kind of dirtling depending on, like, especially the Earth matchups. But, like, your Lightning decks could be kind of fast, but not
It also
crazy.
depended on it. Like, I think it felt different pods felt different speeds in that.
Yes.
Set.
You could have some slow Lightning decks that were like very grindy. Mm-hmm. Or you could have some Lightning decks that are just like, you just did a 4-card 16.
Yeah. In limited. It was insane.
Yeah.
And so, powered up for that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel crazy.
No.
It
feels very reasonable.
When the more I heard about this set, I thought that this set could be maybe we look back on this set as not that great of a draft, but the more I get into it, the more I'm like, this is actually kind of hype.
I don't know if we'll look at it as one of their best draft formats. No. I think we will look at it as a very solid draft format, though.
I think that's fine. I think that's great.
Yeah. I mean, they can't all be better than the last one. That's not possible.
No.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if people looked back and said that this was their personal favorite, even if it's not the best.
It would be cool
one.
if this is like draft floor. This is like the meh draft set going.
This becomes the average.
This is the expectation.
I mean, that's possible.
Cool. That would be cool.
They've upped their game so much.
Yeah,
in terms of their limited set design. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really been impressive. And I think I've said this before. Like, over the last year since Heavy Hitters was released, I've actually really come to enjoy draft and limited formats. And Mistveil really did that for me, where it's like, I went back and played Mistveil Sealed in Osaka at Worlds for one of the side events, and it was fun.
I had fun playing Sealed and Flesh and Blood. Whoa.
Bro, there was no set that I enjoyed playing Sealed before Mistveil. And Mistveil Sealed feels actually really good. As long as you don't hit a mirror guy. Mistveil Sealed feels really good. It feels really fun.
As a limited enjoyer, I would struggle to tell people to play Sealed unless it was a pre-release. But I'd always try to convince people to play Draft. I'm like, Sealed exists. We can play Draft, though.
I would tell them to play Mistveil Sealed.
Mistveil Sealed. Yeah.
Yeah. I would actually, I would be comfortable introducing people to the game with Mistveil Sealed. I would start them on Zen because it's, the most kind of straightforward of the three.
Yeah.
But, that's a great way to introduce people to the game because they get their kind of aggro deck, they get their disruptive, evasive deck, and then they get a defensive deck. Mm-hmm. And, there's great floors for all three of them. I actually genuinely enjoy Sealed in that format. And I hope that I enjoy playing Sealed here. We'll see.
We'll see.
But no, their limited design has really stepped up.
Yep.
Since Bright Lights.
Well, I think that's it. You don't have anything else you wanted to talk about?
I think I'm good.
I think that wraps it up then. Kevin, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, the people who watch or listen to the VODs, watch the VOD or listen to the recordings on Spotify. I didn't know
shout out to
we
them.
had anyone doing that.
Yeah, we do.
And you showed me the numbers this past week, and I'm like,
yeah. Shout out to our boys in Belgium. We got some people watching in Belgium. Let's go. I know one of them at least.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I think that's it. Other than we have a merch store. If you like merch like this or merch like people have been buying, we had 3 people buy shirts in the past week, which is dope.
I know Taylor. I sent you the picture of Taylor at Chicago.
Yep.
Had one of our shirts, and he was like,
that was
I'm
awesome.
wearing this to every event in Roanoke.
So good. It's so good. I love it. We're going to have more shirts, I believe, coming out soon. We got a new video probably coming out in a week or two, a project video.
Okay.
It's going to fix the problem of illusionist and mechanologist.
Oh, no.
Which is going to be great. And then the last thing I was going to bring up is this Sunday at 1, because that's when we were able to we had some cancellations. Things happen. Life happens. Sunday at 1, which I'm going to make a post about it after this. UPF live stream. We're going to be playing UPF, and spoiler alert, just for the people watching right now or listening to this later, it's going to be UPF 40 card decks. 1 copy of each named card.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I want to see some variance in these decks. I want to see
It's not even like 1 red, 1 blue.
No.
It's exactly 1 red.
I was going to make them do 1 copy of each color, 100 card decks.
No.
And
that's a bad idea.
And we went back and forth on it, and I tested it with some people, and what we ended up settling on was 1 named card, 40 card decks.
Yeah.
And I think that the main reason this helps is because it allows fatigue to exist. Not that fatigue is an incredibly fun mechanic, but it is a aspect of the game that should be there, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be a thought process. So they're part of the thought.
Not even that you need to run out of cards, but the aggro decks need to get weaker as the game goes on.
Yeah, you need to find your blues,
that's actually
run into
what
your
it
blues.
is.
Yeah, that's part of it. And then 1 of each named card does ruin some archetypes, but it also allows you to start digging a little deeper for the things that you want to do.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to, and I think that's cool. The only problem that I've seen is there's 1 deck that we built that it was just like, it was majestic.deck. It was like,
it was every
like,
generic majestic.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I can't run.
It's just Ira with 1 CNC, 1 erase face, 1 amnesia, 1 weakness link, 1.
which was I think it was Ira actually, and I was like,
like Ira's just the best at that.
Yeah.
Oh no, what am I going to do with all of my combo block 3 blues?
I think someone's bringing Bravo, which is interesting because you only have so many blue block 3s that attack for 6, which affects, if you go that route or if you go a different route, right? So like you got 1 Rouse Ancients and you got to have the right hand for it.
You got to find the hand for that.
Yeah. Holy. And so I think that's going to be interesting. I'm excited about it. You know who I think actually would be probably the most consistent deck? It would be, not that it's any good in UPF, is aggro-IE. Is probably just completely fine because there's so many copies of the same card just with slightly different text now.
You don't get to run like the standard rate boosts of 0 to 60 and stuff really well, but you get to run all of the 1-for-4 effect boosts, and that'll be perfectly fine with your single pistol and single chamber.
Yeah.
Great, actually.
Yeah. The other thing was, I think
you can't run CYB.
No, you can't run CYB like at all. You get 1 CYB, and it's a red that costs 2 that heals you 3. The other thing was
Sigil of Solace.
I think Katsu would be funny.
Oh my god, what an absolute hodgepodge of a deck. Like,
that deck would be insane.
You get one Surging Strike the entire game.
Yeah, you get one Surging Strike,
freaking hit.
one head jab, you get one Be Like Water. I think it's crazy. I think you have to run the headpiece that says you changed the name of a card.
Yes. You have to run Mask of Many Faces.
Yeah. I don't know what line you try to go for, but that deck will be fun.
It's got to be.
I'm trying to convince Aaron to go that deck. I don't know if he is. He might just do new. I don't know, but I
Zen
think
doesn't lose any Transcend card.
No. No one's allowed to bring Zen. You know what? You've said it, and I've thought about it. So it's funny, and I think it's interesting, and I think it could be a way to look at UPF in the future, or it's just like a way to add more variance into decks, and you're not just I don't know.
It requires you to actually be good at deck building and not just like number.
And some people are really into trying to like min-max. I think that's. Thank you all so much for watching. We do this every Thursday, and we have not the design stream this weekend. It's UPF, which we've been talking about, on Sunday at 1:00. Bye. Goodbye. Bye. All right.